Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hilaria Baldwin, otherwise known as Hillary Hayward Thomas, formerly known, the artist formerly known as Hillary Hayward Thomas, went on a number of rants. I covered 2 of them yesterday, and there's 2 more that are even more interesting and telling that I'm going to cover today. So she went on these rants on Instagram, and I want to establish some information here. So I don't mind. In fact, it benefits me in this YouTube channel. Makes it easier for me to cover one of the things that I cover here, and that is how the so-called American dream, the part about being rich, famous, and happy and all these things, which, Alec Baldwin and his wife, they have a big family, they have a couple houses, they have all kinds of different levels of fame, and they are hobnobbing with the rich and famous, and Alec Baldwin has had a lot of success, and Hilaria married into it, right? And so, they are living what people think of as the American dream, but they're not happy. They are, even before Alec shot his coworker, and before Hilaria was discovered, she was posing as a Spanish person. Even before those sort of scandals, they weren't happy. Like, I've covered Alec Baldwin on Instagram for a couple of years now because of his Trump rants and things. And, it was fun to mock him and whatever it was. And things have gotten rough now for them. But even before that, I don't think Alec Baldwin's ever been happy as a celebrity. He's had issue after issue. He's talked about his inner demons extensively. I mean, he used the phrase inner demons over and over again in various articles that he talked about having inner demons. And, there's demons that emerge from him. He's gone after paparazzi. He's gone after his ex-wife and his daughter and things. So he's had a number of meltdowns. But it seems like after he married Hilaria, things went really south quickly, right? Things got way worse for Alec once he married Hilaria, and I want to discuss that aspect about it. But let's start here. So Hilaria Baldwin's parents, Baldwin is of English, French, Canadian, German, Irish, and Slavic descent. Her parental grandfather was David L. Thomas Sr., an American with roots in the country that predated the American Revolution. So her father had, these were like people who came over on the frickin' Mayflower. That's how white they are, right? And number one is they clearly are English. They might be these other things as well, but you would think of the name Hayward and Thomas as very English names, especially Thomas English muffins, right? They're so English, they got an English muffin named after them, right? So it's well known what her parents, this is what they look like, right? Very white bread, she has very pale skin, light skin. It's just, blonde children. Ethnically, she doesn't have a drop of Spanish blood in her. And then there's the other phenomenon where she goes back and forth between having an English and an American accent.
And they put that baby on you. I just want her to come now, trying to do some jumping jacks, pop her out, get her ready. Not really jumping jacks.
No, I like being a...
And so here, like where she starts off talking, she goes back and forth. Sometimes in mid-sentence, she switch accents, right? Like you see it. Sometimes she says the word like a very American girl from Boston. Sometimes she says the word like her native language is Spanish and she has a heavy accent.
Why? I'm practicing. In front of the mirror when you're alone, you just practice. Continue to say, Hilaria Baldwin, Hilaria Baldwin, Hilaria Baldwin.
So she started off sounding like an American girl, and then she started in with this.
How was it? Was it amazing?
You know what? And I'm not just saying this because it was my wedding, but it was the best party ever. Ever.
It was the best party ever. She had the best party ever. It was the best party ever.
Ever. I had like 35 or 40 of my family members come from Spain, which equals...
Yeah, so you didn't have any family members that actually live in Spain. Now, her parents have retired to Spain, but she's not Spanish, right? She doesn't have any Spanish blood. If she went and got her genetics tested, they wouldn't find any Spanish blood in her, right? So she's not Spanish in any possible way. She grew up in America. speaking English with two English, not just Anglo, but English, Anglo parents who are very English, and French Canadian and other things, Mayflower people, long ancestry in America. She doesn't have a big family of Spanish people, relatives from Spain that are Spanish that came over for a wedding. At least genetically, right? They came over for a wedding. Big Giant Cursor knows.
And he has a couple of breaks from work, and in October I think we're going to go to España to see my family.
Your family? Her family that lives in España. Now let me ask you this, Hilaria. When you say España, do you mean Boston? I think you might be confusing España with Boston. And I've shown you this before. This is from 2018, where she's speaking exclusively with American accent. Nothing Spanish here at all.
And then I stay active when I'm pregnant, and I'm not trying to stay thin. I'm just trying to keep my circulation going and stretching and keep my muscle tone up.
And so she does not speak with a Spanish accent there, right? That is an the American girl speaking in her native language of American, bonehead, right? That's classic American dummy right there.
Oh, you know what? I feel like all of our children were semi-surprises, in a good way. Good surprises. Like positive surprises. I have 4 kids, but you have to be able to treat each one as if they were only child.
So she doesn't have a regular accent, like sometimes American, sometimes Spanish. She doesn't have any Spanish ancestry. Then there was the scandal. She got caught faking something. Maybe she's been MK'd, best case scenario for her. I mean, maybe worst case, but at least it's excusable. She has some sort of altered personality, some sort of mental illness, but she doesn't claim that at all. She claims that sometimes she speaks in English and sometimes she speaks in Spanish. That was her defense because, when she gets nervous, she speaks in Spanish, but that's not her native language. Makes no sense, right? Somebody has an accent because they grow up with one language, they have their native language, and then they learn a second language, and the best they can speak that second language is with an accent. Maybe sometimes the accent's a little bit more heavy, sometimes not as much, but she grew up speaking English. No reason for her to have an accent unless she's faking, right? She's fake. She's fake, 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 fake.
Fake, 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 fake.
And then you have this poor schlub, right, who's been, an a-hole his whole life. He's been arrogant, unlikable, has a temper, has got what he calls his inner demons. But then he marries this faker, and who you marry affects you, right? Like you can have somebody in your life, I mean, certainly in a marital relationship, but it could be a friend. It could be any number of influences, somebody you spend a lot of time on. People will either pull you up or pull you down. This is part of what the heartfulness meditation is about, that when you're with saintly people, when you're with spiritual people, especially the master of the system, your association with them, higher developed souls, will pull you up, right? And most of us have experienced somebody in our life that's pulled us down. And when you marry a person like this with negative energy, and they might be nice, they might treat you nice, they might be, really wonderful people in ways that like you feel about them. I mean, they could be any number of things in terms of their presentation. As soon as you're married to them, they suck you into a vortex of drama and psychological issues and, emotional stuff and crisis after crisis. And it doesn't appear to be their fault, but it is, right? And so Alec Baldwin was no treat. But once he married to Hilaria, he went downhill quick, right? You look at his life now, I mean, again, he might have looked like this anyway, but he definitely looks like this now with his demon eyes. And now, like, he doesn't really have much left.
I'm home with my family. The only thing I care about, it's just true. All I care about is my wife and my kids and just moving forward with my life. And
he says that, but we know the guy. He's a hobnobber. He's probably always on the phone with, rich and powerful people. He's doing social things. He's always on Instagram. He loves attention, and he loves to work. Like he's making this movie Rust. Right before it, he made a movie called Pixie, which was an Irish movie. And, it's a low budget, basically a B movie. Rust, he said, had a $5 million budget, which he paid for. He paid for the making of that movie because he wants to be in movies, and Hollywood doesn't want to cast him in movies anymore. He said he did this sitcom with Kelsey Grammer that wasn't picked up, right? Like he's a struggling actor now. No matter how, successful he was in the past, he can't even land a sitcom, right? Used to make movies, and he has to pay to make his own movies. And so he desperately wants to stay relevant, much like Madam Expiration Date. And Will Smith, I'm going to cover him in a bit as well, because there's been a new kind of development with him. And so this guy's a struggling actor. His last big sort of notable thing was this.
And then 2 months later, Mike Pence will become the 46th.
So this is not an expression that Trump makes. You'll see he does the ducky lips thing quite a bit, Big Giant Colossal Cursor knows. But I've noticed that Alec Baldwin has ducky lips in his Instagram posts because that's his expression. So his interpretation of narcissistic Trump was just an exaggeration of his own personal characteristics. This reveals a level of self-hatred, right? And he went in on Instagram hard on Trump. I mean, he was, like he hated Trump so much, and every, other Instagram post, he was doing a rant about Trump. He was impersonating Trump. And once Trump was gone, like his career ended, right? Like he's what happens when you get negatively obsessed with somebody, and where he had to pay for his own movies. And a lot of this stuff came from her, right? Like he had his own political views and things. But a lot of these things, she became Instagram famous and, because she wanted to be famous. We'll get into that in a moment. But she is definitely, she hasn't made his life better. And now he has nothing but his family. And you can tell he's not really into his family. I mean, maybe he is, right? Like for, 10, 15 minutes. But what he's really into being is a celebrity and a, rich and powerful, famous person. And now he's infamous, right? He's infamous for marrying a wife who's, kind of duped him and pretended to be Spanish, and he went along with it, right? Let's play the compilation here.
Consider the source.
Oh, she's a white girl? Yes, I am a white girl. I am a white girl.
So, for example, my wife's on the phone with her hairdresser or her friend. She's like, really? Okay, I can't wait to see you. That's going to be great. Fantastic. What time? 12 o'clock? My wife is from Spain. And she said, blah, blah, blah.
We have very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say it? Cucumbers. We have red pepper. We have, of course.
It's not easy, and I think part of it is that I'm in shape before I have a baby, and then I stay active when I'm pregnant, and I'm not trying to stay thin. I'm just trying to keep my circulation going and stretching and keep my muscle tone up, and then we're having a baby. It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
And one time at band camp.
It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
And one time at band camp.
It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
Well, there was a scream I heard, which is the scream that's normally reserved if there's a spider in the house on Long Island. I'm not exaggerating.
So the first part of the book is philosophy on how to live very namaste. I have 3 little babies. I live kind of a crazy life between work and them and everything else. So it's just, how to stay calm and centered and deal with things that are coming at you. Then we could talk about food.
Consider the source.
Oh, she's a white girl? Yes, I am a white girl. I am a white girl.
He was telling everybody he had a Spanish wife. Her accent slipped in and out. He got duped and fooled. She was acting. Doesn't have a drop of Spanish blood in her. Right? Like it's a well-known, And she is still clinging to her story. And right after her scandal, and her scandal happened right when Trump was, the election debacle for Trump, when Alec Baldwin could have been gloating with his hatred for Trump. And so, she has been a nightmare for him, right? Like he already was a difficult person and had, whatever he had. But the real problems he has now all came after he married her. So I just want to point this out here. I'm in the editing process, that there was a scandal. Like it became, mainstream news, all that kind of stuff. That she was, faking a Spanish accent. And then, she didn't admit to it, and they both got defensive and whatever that is. And that's blown over. Alec has now shot somebody, and things have moved on, right? COVID is morphed. I mean, there's all these different storylines and things that, every day is something new. But let's not forget how effed up it is to be a person who's faking an ethnicity. Like if this was at your office or this was in your social circle and your brother married somebody that was faking their ethnicity and it came out, it would be like, what's wrong with that frickin' person, right? But she did it on a sort of a, she was on Entertainment Tonight and to the Today Show. I mean, she was all over the place faking this persona. So it wasn't like just some local thing. And then she got caught, and like it's a really weird thing to do. Like this is, crazy town. Like this is something crazy people do. And then when they get caught, they refuse to admit it. Another crazy behavior because, we know what her family ethnicity is. She's been caught. Like other celebrities were ragging on her. I mean, people who were her friends and things, and they still refuse to admit it. Like she's still carrying on like she's from Spain. And so let's not forget how crazy that is as we move into this next segment. And so here is her rants. I covered these two, and these were the two earlier ones that she had. I guess there's a third one. I'm not going to get to that one today. I don't know if I'll get to it ever. But she is one of these famous men's wives that wanted to be famous herself. I mean, she wanted to be famous before that. There are people who marry somebody famous and they stay in the background. Like you don't really know much about them. They're not pushing themselves on social media. Like you would say, all right, who's that famous person married to? And you'd be like, I don't know. But everyone knows who Alec Baldwin's married to because she has pushed herself out there, written books, and done everything possible to become famous, right? And presenting her life like it's some wonderful life, like, on Instagram, which so many people do. But you see that there isn't great things behind them. Like he's shushed her in public and she's openly criticizing him. She does it here on Instagram. So let's start here. So this is from December 13th. All of these videos with her being triggered by, haters and trollers is about things to do with her when her husband is possibly on the verge of going to jail. Either way, his career's wrecked. It's hard times. Her husband's being crushed, but she's concerned about her personal stuff here.
Think about the women that you come into contact with. I know for myself, 99.9% of people who tear me down are other women.
She's worried about being torn down while her husband's in complete crisis, right? Like there's still a possibility of jail time here. And no matter what happens, he's effed, right? And she's worried about women who are criticizing her. Like she's done these 5 videos, at least 4 of them are about trolls and being trolled and all things that she's created.
I also know that 99.9% of the people who lift me up and inspire me and take care of me and dry my tears and listen to me obsess or complain or get excited about anything are other women too.
Women are the best and the worst. In Hilaria land.
And this past year, I've been thinking a lot about the relationships that we have with each other and the things that we do to each other, both the good and the bad.
When she means what we do, she means what other people, you women, are doing to her. Like how they're treating her. Because she's not bringing up her own flaws in any of these videos. She's not bringing up the fact that she, tried to push this vision. And there's this little suspicious look to the side here. She's talking about how she's being mistreated by trolls and she wants it to stop. And she thinks this is a good way to stop it instead of saying, yeah, I faked a Spanish accent. I don't know why I did it. It's kind of weird, I know. But the fact she's clinging to this means she's like crazy. Like she believes it, right? Either she's a good actress, and I guess she was a pretty good actress because she fooled Alec Baldwin into believing that she was Spanish with English parents, right? But I don't think that's the case. I think she's just a little, bonkers. The controllers, the people that control this narrative, what I call the show, they need people to, they need people to be humiliated. They need drama. They need scandals. They need gossip. They need distractions for a variety of reasons. I mean, sometimes it's for distractions, but other times it's just because the truth is always coming out. And so, on a divine level, and the people who control the system, the Freemasons, all the various levels of secret society stuff, all the people with money, the royal family, all the, various groups, the Zionists, all these groups, they have a greater knowledge of how the world works. They have secret hidden knowledge or whatever. And they know when you lie, God is wanting to, the natural system is going to expose that lie. And so there's natural humiliation, there's natural getting caught, there's natural scandals and things for people who lie. Eventually it comes out. And so there's consequences. And so sometimes they manufacture those consequences and they burn people. But most of the time they just have to let these celebrities who get so full of themselves just melt down, right? Like they don't have to do anything. And this, I think, is one of these cases where these people were so delusional. Alec delusional about his hatred for Trump, which was really self-hatred, his narcissism, and this, attention-seeking, you-know-what, right? Who married an older, richer, famous man and saw her ticket to, fame and fortune, and her manipulations and things, and her deception is catching up with her.
I really want to start to focus on a lot of the learned things that we get from when we're younger that are not serving us, or at least I don't believe that they're serving us.
Not serving you, because she's perfect. You guys are, you trolls are, this is all about you. She's saying we, but she means you.
I remember Snow White and how the queen would ask, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
She's the Snow White in this story. This is Snow White. She's the fairest of them all.
And then the mirror started saying Snow White. So this is telling you that there can be only one fairest of them all. There can't be more than one. There can't be two. There can only be one. And when the queen heard this, she was so mad that she sent Snow White into the forest to be killed and have her heart cut out and delivered to her in a box.
In this story, she had Snow White, the media started to say Snow White wasn't really Spanish. She was actually, white because she was Snow White, and she was only faking to be Spanish. And that was just wrong on every level, right? Fake, 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 fake.
Not the greatest thing that we are teaching our kids, right?
We got to get rid of the Snow White story because it's negatively affected Hilaria. Like, she's the fairest of them all.
We are also taught that we have to be sugar and spice and everything nice. So not only are we taught that we have to be the best, the prettiest, the most everything, but we're also supposed to do it being very sweet.
It's society's fault. It's just a contradiction.
It's really, really confusing. So if there's such a competitive nature and we're supposed to win at all of these things.
Her whole Instagram page is about her winning. Being married to a famous man, living her best life, having all these kids, having the houses, having all the stuff. I mean, she has a photographer. Instagram is all about that. I've talked about that in the last video. And that's what her Instagram is about. Like, proving to everybody that she's winning, and now she's not winning. And so this is what's happening.
How are we supposed to be nice too? And I think that this is where a lot of like the backstabbing and the silent cruelty and all the cruelty that we see on social media with fake accounts or just pylon and all that garbage that we have seen recently.
Trolling on the internet is brutal. I've talked about anonymity, all this stuff, right? But in her case, and again, I don't encourage trolling. I wouldn't write a nasty comment, But on my channel, I call things like I see them, or I talk to, I tell the truth, sometimes the brutal truth. And in her case, she, Alec Baldwin drew all this negative stuff to himself with this Trump stuff, which she was a part of. But her Instagram account is something that's going to trigger people, right? She is trying to show everybody how great her life is. And, she wants to be Snow White. And so when you're like that, you're going to draw negative attention, especially when your husband's so political and all these things, and he's had his own issues. And then there's just the anti-Hollywood truther stuff and everything else, right? And then she got caught deceiving everybody, duping everybody. And then once that happens, it's over, right? She's in Rachel Dolezal land.
But what we're doing is not new. The idea of tearing each other down is not new. It's been happening since forever. I read a really interesting book, if you guys are looking for a good book. It's called Women's Inhumanity to Women by Phyllis Chesler. I highly recommend it.
What accent do you have right now? Like, it's not really Spanish. It's not really American dope. What is it?
The other thing I've been thinking about is this idea, this notion of a glass ceiling. Now, I'm not going to let men off the hook for this whole patriarchy thing, but
She's not going to let the men off the hook. But, you know, this is about women criticizing her, so let's keep our eye on the prize.
I do think that we are feeding into it as well through tearing each other down. So,
particularly tearing her down.
Again, go back to the glass ceiling. We're told that there's this glass ceiling that we have to break, and some of us have broken it, but maybe not too much, because as soon as you...
Yeah, some of us married a guy, and we got an Instagram account, and we faked an accent, and we broke the crap out of that ceiling.
Get something, you become a target, and then people want to tear you down. And we're all targets because we all have wonderful qualities. And if you cross the wrong person who wants to be the queen in Snow White, then they are going to try to cut your heart out and keep it in a box. Kind of.
And that's what's happening to her right now. You guys are cutting her poor little heart out with your trolling comments.
Joking, kind of not. But, you know, so this idea about the glass ceiling, imagine, I think that there's actually no glass ceiling. I think...
Wait, you're saying the glass ceiling is a myth?
We keep on telling each other that there's glass ceiling. I think that's this notion of treading water, and we keep on saying to each other that we're going to drown if we stop treading water. And then we realize we can put our feet down, and it's really not that deep. And I think the same...
Really not that deep. The Hilaria Baldwin story.
Same thing with the glass ceiling. The sky is the limit, and the sky is limitless. And if we...
Yeah, that's not actually true. It's not infinite.
We stop tearing each other down, and we lift each other up, and we realize that there is enough room at the table for all of us. Pull up a chair. Pull up a chair.
Is this table in Spain or in Boston or New York? Where's the location of this so-called table?
That, I think that we can start to get into a different place with this patriarchy. You know how in my big frat Greek wedding, they say that the woman is the neck and the man is the head, and then the woman can turn the head any which way to get her way.
A secret to a successful marriage by Hilaria Baldwin: be the neck. She's Alec Baldwin's neck. That's what I'm saying here. She's the neck, and she's steering Alec Baldwin into a disastrous life, right? Being the neck. I let my wife be the neck, and how it destroyed my life. The Alec Baldwin story.
I think one of the reasons that we never get to the head is we keep on slitting each other's throats.
Kablawi, she's got metaphors.
So I think rather than pretending that these issues don't exist, I think we need to start talking about them more and more. And I think that we need to realize we are at least 50% of the population. And if we start working with each other,
God knows what could happen.
There's so much that we can do.
So much. If you're not backstabbing and, you know, having bitch fights or whatever, you could take over the gosh darn world.
Now, I have my insecurities and my fears, and I've had to really work on myself to not feel competitive with other people. I mean,
her eyes are all over the place, like she's lying up a storm here, trying to grasp for, and she doesn't know she's lying. I mean, you know, maybe she's a good actress. Otherwise, she completely believes what she's saying, and she doesn't have any sense of how, like, not just hypocritical, but the inability to self-perceive and how this is coming across. Just completely clueless. And Alec Baldwin shares that as well.
Trust me, we've all been there. There's certain things like, oh, this person's so smart, or this person's so this person's so that. And I've been rewiring my brain to sort of say, you know what? I'm going to be inspired by that person.
And I'm Spanish, gosh darn it. I rewired my brain, and now I have a Spanish brain.
Or I'm going to learn to be more this that I like. And then I'm going to incorporate that into myself to try to make myself the person I want to be more and more each day. So I would love more and more to have these conversations with you so that we can get to...
Yeah, it's a wonderful conversation. I feel completely... This isn't a conversation.
A place where we can begin to work with each other and rather than against each other, because there's so much we can do and there's room for all of us.
Because there's no glass ceiling. So one of my viewers pointed out that she's flashing this wedding ring throughout the other video that I covered, the one I made yesterday. I didn't notice it, but it seems to be filled with diamonds, and she's using it like, hey, like an FU weapon, right? So here's the second one. Here's the second video.
I know a lot of people say ignore online bullies, and you can ignore them somewhat, but there is an element where I think as a whole system, we have to kind of plow through the fire.
So these are 4 videos all about this, the way that she's being treated. She's been triggered by the paparazzi, by the media, by, mostly online bullies, by competitive women who all are, disliking her Snow White successful. And this is where she really gets into how successful she's been. So just to clarify, I'm in the editing portion, that she actually did 5 videos. I covered the latest 3, the ones that were like closest to the top of her Instagram timeline. And she did those on like the 18th and the 21st of December, which is 6 days ago. And then she did the other video on the 13th, the first one I just covered. And this one I believe is from the 15th of December. And so this is when her family's in crisis. Her husband is, his career's over. He's maybe facing jail time. I mean, it's just bad news for him. It's like, best case scenario for him. He doesn't go to jail, and maybe he gets some, some like low-level acting parts in a couple of years, right? So he's just going to mope around the house where he's clearly miserable, and she doesn't want to have him, which she'll divulge here about, how not great he is. Like she said that a number of different times. And so, like, he's going through a crisis, but she's triggered by trolls, and she's trying to make it about you, like the viewer, like she's helping you out by, being triggered by her being trolled and all the negativity she's getting from the internets. And it's, it's crazy town, right? She spends a lot of time in crazy town.
And we do need to talk about it, not to give them attention.
Why do we need to talk about it? Because you're upset? You're triggered? Why do we need to talk about it, Hilaria? I mean, Snow White?
But to address the how. I don't want you to feel that you have to fight some silent battle. We all have bullies. We all get negativity. And whether that is in person or on social media where it is rampant right now, I want you to know that you don't deserve that.
And by you, she means she doesn't deserve it, right? Because this is about her, not you. Like she's, oh my God, I'm going through this. I bet other people are going through it. I'm going to let them know they don't deserve it, right? No, this is about Snow White.
I'm going to use some things of myself as an example to hopefully have you feel that you are not alone. Now, I met Alec around 11 years ago. And as soon as our relationship was outed, because everybody needs to know everything about everybody else, right?
Yeah, exactly. She didn't want anybody to know that she was hooking up with Alec Baldwin. She didn't want to do anything like, get an Instagram account and become famous and do interviews on E! And, accompanying him to premieres and other big media events, because she didn't want any fame at all. She didn't want anybody to know. She's a very private person. But everyone had to know about Alec, so they ended up finding out about his, Spanish wife, who's also Snow White.
One of my friends gave me the worst advice ever. Love my friend, worst advice ever. And she said to me, you should get Google Alerts. So I got Google Alerts, and then...
And then I became obsessed with everybody who was talking about me.
And all of a sudden, I had all of these messages of people having conversations about her dress was too short, her dress was too long, she should have had a different color, her wrist is this, she's so ugly,
and so I turned off the Google alerts, and I lived a very solemn life out of the spotlight, and that worked out great for me. Or no, I got an Instagram account, and I said, I really like this, I like people talking about me, so I'm going to do things so people will talk about me. I'm going to write books and call myself a yoga instructor and show up and, say I don't know how to say the word cucumber, even though I grew up in Boston. That's what I'm going to do. Because I love it when I get Google alerts and it's about me.
Essentially trash compared to their favorite celebrity, Alec Baldwin. I mean, like, it was just so many different opinions. Now, I understand everybody's had like celebrity crushes and stuff like that. But there is a sense of ownership that some people have over people that they see in magazines and on movies and stuff like that. And it was almost like, this is an imposter that has come into his life, and he was supposed to be mine. And so I am...
That's what you think this is about? That's what you think has happened? There's a bunch of women out there that wanted to marry Alec Baldwin, and now that you're married to him, they're still angry at you like 11 years later. Like, that's the root cause of this thing. Like, most of us are glad that you guys have taken each other off the market. You're not inflicting some pain on some, poor, nice people. That you're bringing each other down, right?
Going to tear her to shreds, and there's absolutely nothing that she can do, wear, look like, anything that will make me like this person.
So I might as well just fake a Spanish accent and then post like this really fake Instagram account and do all these types of things because nothing I can do about it.
This is when I used to feel that I had to explain myself. Then I went through a phase where people say, oh, don't explain anything. So I went through a phase where I stopped explaining it. And this person would say this about me, and that person would say that, and this article would say this, and that would say that. And I just kept on. I learned that I didn't read anything. I still, to this day, I do not read anything about myself. It's been my
Come on. Then where is this coming from?
Fake. Coping mechanism, because when everything is so loud and you hear, I'll hear through people saying to me, oh, they're saying this, or oh, they're saying that, or stuff that I've had to address in the past. And it's almost like you're looking and you're like, this is literally about another character over there. This isn't me. This is about that one over there. And it's almost like they're just like inventing this whole crazy story over there.
Yeah, like I fake like I was Spanish or something. They invented that, and that's not about me. That's about another character who isn't Spanish, like me, who, clearly is Spanish because I vacation there with my family almost every year, and I learn to talk and speak the language. So clearly, they're not talking about me, Snow White.
And the next thing I want to say to you is that so much of bullying doesn't actually have to do with your issue or an issue. It has to do with just the teardown. So there's been so many inconsistencies with the exact same bullies online for me, right? And bullies can be different things. They can be some random troll. They can be somebody with an actual account. They could be a reporter who just has a vendetta against you, or is making money off of you. I mean, there's so many different forms of people just being nasty for the sake of being nasty, which for me is...
Again, this isn't what this is about, right? I mean, whatever things they said about her, because if you're online, you're going to get, there's a lot of just nastiness, and people can say what they actually, think inside, what they are inside. They can be the dark side of themselves because of anonymity. I've talked about that before. And it shows how sucky human beings are, right? Like, it shows a low level of suckiness. And I've also talked about, like, I could do all videos on spirituality and positive things and prepping and, whatever it is, like solutions. I could do a solution-based channel talking about, God and all the spiritual stuff I know, like all the theories, all the various, applications, and, have a positive channel. No one would watch it because people are obsessed with the negative. So, in this sense, like she's not wrong about the negativity. That negativity is out there. But the problem that she doesn't understand is that she posted a fake Instagram account, which is like rubbing everybody's face in her success, right? And so that's immediately going to draw more negativity. And Alec Baldwin out there being, like such a ridiculous Hollywood liberal and anti-Trump, like that's going to draw negativity too. Like that's choices you made, right? You take a position in a very polarized world, people are out to get you. So you guys set this thing up like you put it on a tee, right? Like it's almost, you could conceive of this being intentional. Like this is all, a part of the show, which it is, and, and non-organic. But they both believe in what they're saying. Like they're not, Alec Baldwin's not that great of an actor, and she is whatever she is, right? And so they believe, like she believes she's Snow White. She believes that she's a wonderful person and she has this wonderful life, this imaginary life. But then there was the faking the ethnicity, which is just batshit crazy, right? And once people got a hold of that shit, and then, your husband shot somebody at work and blamed everybody but himself in a movie that he's producing, and, safety precautions and all the problems there because he was, desperate to remain relevant, that he's, making his own movies. I saw a movie, my wife and I was watching a movie about 6 months ago or something like this. It was like a science fiction movie starring Bruce Willis. And it was like not even a B movie, it's like a C movie. Older actors, and maybe they just want a paycheck, or maybe, they just want to stay relevant some way. I mean, it's both of those things. Alec Baldwin's in that land where they're no longer a part of the big productions. They're no longer getting cast in, $100 million, $200 million movies. And, they can just choose. They have the money to just choose to let it go. And certainly now, after what's happened, they should get rid of their social media accounts, like they got rid of Twitter, and just move on, right? Because people will forget about them. Like she is fueling this, especially now making these videos, by continuing to put themselves out there, their fake reality, and be like tone deaf about what people feel about them, right? Like you've been, exposed. Like, people have an opinion of you guys now. You're a faker and he's a shooter, right? Manslaughterer, like this is, and it's beyond just that, right?
That is being a bully. And so what I wanted to say to people is,
there's that ring. She keeps on flashing it.
Like, just at least get consistent about what you're bullying me about. I've had the same people say to somebody who's dyeing my hair, how dare you dye her hair? She is breastfeeding because she just had a baby, and that should not be in her system. I've had those exact same people go to somebody who took a picture of me breastfeeding and say, how dare you take a picture of her breastfeeding? You're supposed to be authentic, and she didn't have any of her babies. She wore some sort of
Come on, like we know you're not authentic. What about the Spanish thing? Like, you're not talking about that at all?
Caption device or Photoshop, I don't even know, depending on the person that you ask. Again, inconsistent. That she pretended to have these babies, and then therefore she's not actually breastfeeding. And how dare you be in a collaboration with her to make us all believe that she actually had children. Sorry, I'm messing up my words. Don't get upset with me. But
this is not my first language, Spanglish. It's not. I don't know, cucumber.
Anyway, the point of me rambling and saying this is that
you're really upset that you no longer can be on Instagram and not get called out for your BS, right? Like, we all know what it is. Like, if you don't know, we do.
I want you to start to think about when somebody comes at you about something.
No, it's about you. Okay, like, I don't have this in my life right now, but tell me how you deal with it, because you're obviously dealing with it so well.
Say, are they actually having an issue with me, with who I am? Or is it actually just about the teardown? I know in my, 99% of my experience.
You wouldn't make this video if you knew it. There's the ring again. It's just everywhere. She's flashing.
It's about just tearing me down, whether it's to make money, attention, deciding that they want me to have some sort of horrible fate, and then they're going to step in and get married to Alec Baldwin. And I say to these people, you know what?
You got me. That's what it's about. We all secretly want to marry Alec Baldwin and his demon eyes and his, accidentally shooting people. I mean, it would just be such a fun ride.
I will give him to you on loan, and you will send him back. He knows that I say this, so then don't start writing this whole thing of like.
This is where she tears him down. He sucks so bad. This magical life that she puts up on Instagram, that she'd loan her husband out, and they'd all send him back because he's just a freaking nightmare.
Oh God, breaking news. Hilaria is loaning him out. I know that some people will do that, but you know what? Enjoy. Maybe you can make some money off of that one too. Anyway, the point is...
Was that Italian? She also had an Italian accent there.
That I really want you to get to a place where you know your worth. You realize that people they're not allowed...
Thanks. I'm glad you're trying to help me get to that place. I mean, I thought this rant was about something you were upset about, but now I know you're just trying to lift me up.
To have opinions about your life and how you live your life, your anything, your essence, who you are, how you conduct yourself. You're allowed to live your best life and connect with other people who you feel are helping you live your best life. Step away from the other people or not, but I don't want it to hurt your feelings.
Oh, thanks. She doesn't want to hurt our feelings. She's doing this for us. She was getting trolled, and she's like, I'm worried about all these other people getting trolled like me. They might be Snow Whites too. I mean, not the real Snow White, because that's me, but they might be Snow Whites too. So let me go and tell them how they're great they are and how they should just live their best life and put out there all these things. And then, marry an actor husband and drive him into the ground and tell him what a piece of crap he is. And he shushes me and he shoots somebody at work. And, everyone could have a best life like that.
Because it's hurt my feelings so deeply. I've had so many tears, so many dark moments. And then I start looking back and I'm like, how dare you? How dare you? Anyway.
How dare you? Anyway, how dare you? How double Dutch, double dog dare you?
Did you say want to a 10-year-old with Down syndrome being taken from her mother?
What I said is you can pick anything you want up, but the bottom line is very clear.
How dare you?
When you cross the border illegally, you have given up the...
That's it.
That's it. And so I now see, since I've watched these 4 videos, I didn't think about it before, that, as bad as Alec Baldwin is, she's bringing that dude down. And you know what? I'm loving it. Keep on going. Keep on doing you, Hilaria. So maybe I'll get to that last video. I don't want to do it today. So I'm going to do some more profound, or what I hope to be profound, analysis about, how this is the state of celebrity culture, but also Instagram and, social media celebrity, and just the dumbing down of America. But first, let's get to Will Smith here. All right, so one of my viewers, let's go back a little bit here. So one of my viewers on Facebook sent me this.
Oh, man.
Okay.
It's like good production.
And then we've got, there's some words up there.
Yes.
Okay, you all set?
Hey.
So Will just grabbed this Graham Norton, is that his name? Graham something. And he has I think he's Irish or Scottish or something. He's got a celebrity talk show in the UK. In fact, I think in this very same episode, there is something else. I'm going to play the compilation later. And that comes from this show. You'll see that in the compilation. But, Will Smith, let's go back here. So,
he is in behind you.
Oh, man.
Okay.
So this guy reaches down to bend over, and Will is eyeing his buttocks, and he decides, well...
It's like good production.
And then we've got, there's some words up there.
Yes.
Okay, you all set?
I'm going to do that. He decides to do that back there, big giant cursor nose, colossal cursor. And then they have a good laugh. And so what this is about, I've covered this in multiple videos, and I'm only covering it again because I wanted to include this in something, right? Because that's weird. So for a number of years out of Hollywood, there's been rumors that Will Smith is either gay or bisexual, right? And he has, like Hilaria Baldwin, he put his family out as this talented and great ideal celebrity Hollywood family. Like he used his family as a selling point, and they've all done different things, bad music, bad rap, bad acting. Like in a celebrity family that all engaged in entertainment, Will Smith is the most talented one. But it's come out that he has a sham marriage with Jada, and she was cheating on him. They had an open marriage. And there's been multiple rumors out of the Hollywood community. It's been reported by these Hollywood, gossip magazines, and from the gay community. This, of course, is Alexis Arquette, who accused them of being a beard couple, a fake wife. And, he said in this thing, when Jada comes out as gay and his beard husband admits his first marriage ended when she walked in on him servicing his sugar daddy, Benny Medina. I've talked about Benny Medina before. Benny Medina was the real-life Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's the one that lived that whatever, the show was based on. And then he sold that idea to be, into a TV show, and he picked Will Smith. He handpicked Will Smith to play himself in that show, and Benny Medina is a gay man, right? Servicing his sugar daddy, Benny Medina, then I will listen to him. Will threw a fit on the set of 6 Degrees of Separation when he's required by the scene to kiss Anthony Rapp. He persuaded the director to shoot the back of his head in frame, blocking the non-existent lip lock entirely. Him, F him. Gays have enemies. They lurk in gilded closets. Outing is healthy. You are either with or against us. You decide today. So Alexis Arquette felt like it was appropriate to out Will Smith. So, then there's these other articles. Dwayne Barton, man identified as Will Smith's secret lover and longtime friend, known for his successful Hollywood marriage. $2 million cover-up scandal, Will Smith's secret payment to rumored gay lover exposed. And I've covered this extensively. His co-star, Kevin Kline, said that he watched Will make out with this guy. I mean, there's just all these rumors coming out of Hollywood and the gay community. And Will Smith recently made a YouTube series and something else on some other network and he wrote a tell-all biography where he said he was really going in depth to some of his psychological issues and going to come out with some truths. He'd been playing a character. He'd been faking. He'd been playing a brand. And so it was his opportunity to say that he was bisexual. His daughters come out as bisexual. These are much more open times to something like that. And yet he still won't, right? He still won't acknowledge something that everybody knows. But there he is grabbing Graham Norton on the buttocks, right?
Fake.
Let me show you the Will Smith compilation. So, these just are incidences where he makes reference to this, like he's hinting at it, right? He does this over and over again.
Thoroughly probed, got in there and got to the real stuff. Alex probed me. Sex, like once you've had sex, you walk different. It's in your back. Only a man knows what a man needs. You ever made love to a man? No. You want to? No, sir. Definitely don't look nerdy. You got some sexy vibes going. It's not nerdy. And from that point, I never put profanity in my rap music.
Oh, what a lovely story. That is sweet.
Does this feel like a hug? Yes.
Come see, come ça.
Do you feel loved or do you feel assaulted?
All right.
Feels like someone already did.
And that fake laugh.
Alrighty.
Now that will be edited out of the show.
No, it won't.
Let's take a peek. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I love him, Ellen. I love him.
Trying to make out with his teenage son.
I do.
Ellen egging him on.
No, you know, it's I think when you have kids and you love them and you're proud of them, you just want to kiss them in the mouth sometimes.
This one's gonna be easy. Ooh, look at her handmade. So, and she's going to get some punch. Feeling a little thirsty myself.
No, you can't leave me. They'll see right through me.
No, they won't. All you have to do is walk over there.
Speak. I also have to speak.
Okay, listen to me. I live in a lamp. This is a party. Do not mess this up for me.
Mr. Man, what's his name? Whatever, what would your pleasure be?
The stories are similar here. Like both of these, I did this with Madam Expiration Date, Madonna, her and Will Smith are so desperate to stay relevant. Like Will Smith now has his own YouTube channel and, it's not good content. And then he's, his wife's got that Red Table Talk and he was depressed and he says all this, he just talks about like being a complete sham in these recent videos and being miserable, and it's coming apart, right? They had this fake brand, of course now you have this with social media. Everyone's trying to sell themselves on social media as having this great life and the best version of their life, and it was all edited. I mean, I covered this in the video yesterday. And like I said, if you need me to be impressed by you, then you're not happy. Like you're embarrassed. Like you know what you are inside and you're trying to present some fake version of yourself on social media. And nobody is worse than this than Hilaria Baldwin, right? She married a famous actor and she leveraged that into, celebrity status herself. She faked an accent to make herself, her character, more interesting. She got outed. Her husband's career has crumbled and they're still out there. Like, just go away. Like, it's all negative from here. You're not going to, get positive attention from people. There's just going to be so many haters and all these people judging you. You just walk away, but they can't. They just can't say, all right, let's just turn off social media, go away for a couple of years, enjoy our money and our life and things like this, and then come back and people will have forgotten about this. They're on social media like all the time. Alec did that bizarre interview, right? And it's just, nothing proves more what I've tried to say over and over again, that the American dream is a sham. When you have celebrities, people who have made it, who are rich and famous. Will Smith was at the top of his career, his profession. He was the #1 movie star for a while. And, he had his crappy rap that did well and all of it. He was like one of the top celebrities in the world, as was Madam Expiration Date. And they're miserable. They're desperate. They want just, a few more minutes of relevance, and they want to return to their glory days. Like they never get satisfied, and they weren't happy then. Most of these people are miserable now, and that includes the politicians and the billionaires and the trillionaires. And so material wealth doesn't satisfy you. Like having everything that you want, it might be better at first. You take somebody who's had poverty and the stress of poverty for years and grew up in poverty, and you give them money, yeah, they're going to be happy for a little while and fame, and then they're going to have a new set of problems, and they're going to be more miserable than before. Like, it's unbelievable. It's true. Look at all the lottery winners that get depressed and commit suicide. It doesn't make you happy, and that's why I always say that there's a spiritual solution. But these people have been so ghoulish, and they're getting everything from the external world. They're getting validated from their fake brand, and this goes to all these social media figures. Like I might have had some desire to be famous or, something when I was younger. And now that I've grown older, and certainly having the YouTube channel, and I don't consider myself famous. There's, only a few people I've seen in public. I think one person recognized me, from one of these, pictures or whatever. I mean, I used to appear in the videos more before, but I have no interest in being, what people call famous. Like just this limited amount of interaction I get and, whatever you want to call the viewers here, fans or whatever, it isn't great. It doesn't make me feel better to be validated by people, who leave positive comments and things. It's nice that people are getting things out of my work and, I like this job. I like making videos. But the fame part of it, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. You know what kind of person you are. I know what kind of person I am, right? Strangers can tell you how great you are all you want, and it's not going to make you feel better about yourself. And you can listen to that other, last video where I talk about gratitude and being grateful, and that's not fake gratitude, but being grateful in a sincere way and finding, some way to rearrange the narrative inside yourself to realize things that are problems are actually blessings, and that's a real art form, and that's something everyone needs to do. But in terms of what's inside of you and the kind of person you are, you know what you are, right? Like everybody does, and you can't hide it. Like if you have a problem with yourself, first find a spiritual goal, connect to your soul, and, connect to God in a deeper level, but also, change, right? Like you don't like something, change, but changing isn't posting something on Instagram and pretending you're something you're not. And these celebrities, these fakers, are the perfect illustration of that. Anyways, only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely important from the Apocalaughs and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.